camels and asses, and the stars and the oxen and all of them. Chapter 88. And I saw one of those four who had come forth first, and he seized that first star which had fallen from the heaven, and bound it hand and foot, and cast it into the abyss. Now that abyss was narrow and deep, and horrible and dark. And one of them drew a sword, and gave it to those elephants and camels and asses. Then they began to smite each other, and the whole earth quaked because of them. And as I was beholding in the vision, lo, one of those four who had come forth stoned them from heaven, and gathered and took all the great stars, whose privy members were like those of horses, and bound them all hand and foot, and cast them in an abyss of the earth. Chapter 89. And one of those four went to that white bull, and instructed him in a secret, without his being terrified. He was born a bull, and became a man, and built for himself a great vessel, and dwelt thereon, and 3 bulls dwelt with him in that vessel, and they were covered in. And again I raised my eyes towards heaven, and saw a lofty roof, with 7 water torrents thereon, and those torrents flowed with much water into an enclosure. And I saw again, and behold, fountains were opened on the surface of that great enclosure, and that water began to swell and rise upon the surface. And I saw that enclosure till all its surface was covered with water. And the water, the darkness and mist, increased upon it. And as I looked at the height of that water had risen above the height of that enclosure, and was streaming over that enclosure, and it stood upon the earth. And all the cattle of that enclosure were gathered together, until I saw how they sank and were swallowed up and perished in that water. But that vessel floated on the water, while all the oxen and elephants and camels and asses sank to the bottom with all the animals, so that I could no longer see them, and they were not able to escape, but perished and sank into the depths. And again I saw in the vision till those water torrents were removed from that high roof, and the chasm of the earth were leveled up, and other abysses were opened. Then the water began to run down into these, till the earth became visible. But that vessel settled on the earth, and the darkness retired, and light appeared. But that white bull which had become a man came out of that vessel, and the 3 bulls with him, and one of those 3 was white like that bull, and one of them was red as blood, and one black, and that white bull departed from them. And they began to bring forth beasts of the field and birds, so that there arose different genera: lions, tigers, wolves, dogs, hyenas, wild boars, foxes, squirrels, swine, falcons, vultures, kites, eagles, and ravens, and among them was born a white bull. And they began to bite one another. But that white bull which was born amongst them begat a wild ass, and a white bull with it, and the wild asses multiplied. But that bull which was born from him begat a black wild boar, and a white sheep. And the former begat many boars, but that sheep begat 12 sheep. And when those 12 sheep had grown, they gave up one of them to the asses, and those asses again gave up that sheep to the wolves, and that sheep grew up amongst the wolves. And YaHuAH brought the 11 sheep to live with it, and to pasture with it amongst the wolves. And they multiplied and became many flocks of sheep. And the wolves began to fear them, and they oppressed them until they destroyed their little ones. And they cast their young into a river of much water. But those sheep began to cry aloud on account of their little ones, and to complain unto their YaHuAH. And a sheep which had been saved from the wolves fled and escaped to the wild asses. And I saw the sheep how they lamented and cried, and besought their YaHuAH with all their might, till that YaHuAH of the sheep descended at the voice of the sheep from a lofty abode, and came to them and pastured them. And he called that sheep which had escaped the wolves, and spake with it concerning the wolves, that it should admonish them not to touch the sheep. And the sheep went to the wolves according to the word of YaHuAH. And another sheep met it and went with it. And the two went and entered together into the assembly to those wolves, and spake with them and admonished them not to touch the sheep from their henceforth. And thereupon I saw the wolves, and how they oppressed the sheep exceedingly with all their power. And the sheep cried aloud. And YaHuAH came to the sheep, and they began to smite these wolves. And the wolves began to make lamentation, but the sheep became quiet, and forthwith ceased to cry out. And I saw the sheep till they departed from amongst the wolves. But the eyes of the wolves were blinded, and those wolves departed in pursuit of the sheep with all their power. And YaHuAH of the sheep went with them as their leader, and all his sheep followed him. And his face was dazzling and glorious and terrible to behold. But the wolves began to pursue those sheep till they reached a sea of water. And that sea was divided, and the water stood on this side and on that before their face. And there YaHuAH led them and placed himself between them and the wolves. And as those wolves did not yet see the sheep, they proceeded into the midst of that sea. And the wolves followed the sheep, and those wolves ran after them into that sea. And when they saw YaHuAH of the sheep, they turned to flee before his face. But that sea gathered itself together, and became as it had been created, and the water swelled and rose till it covered those wolves. And I saw until all the wolves who pursued those sheep perished and were drowned. But the sheep escaped from that water, and went forth into a wilderness, where there was no water and no grass. And they began to open their eyes and to see. And I saw YaHuAH of the sheep pasturing them, giving them water and grass, and that sheep going and leading them. And that sheep ascended to the summit of that lofty rock. And YaHuAH of the sheep sent it to them. And after that I saw YaHuAH of the sheep who stood before them. And his appearance was great and terrible and majestic. And all those sheep saw him and were afraid before his face. And they all feared and trembled because of him. And they cried to that sheep with them, which was amongst them, "We are not able to stand before our YaHuAH, or to behold him." And that sheep which led them again ascended to the summit of that rock. But the sheep began to be blinded and to wander from the way which he had showed them. But that sheep wrought not thereof. And YaHuAH of the sheep was wrathful exceedingly against them. And that sheep discovered it, and went down from the summit of the rock, and came to the sheep, and found the greatest part of them blinded and fallen away. And when they saw it, they feared and trembled at its presence, and desired to return to their folds. And that sheep took another sheep with it, and came to those sheep which had fallen away, and began to slay them. Took another sheep, and the sheep feared its presence. And thus that sheep brought back those sheep that had fallen away, and they returned to their folds. And I saw in this vision till that sheep became a man, and built a house for YaHuAH of the sheep, and placed all the sheep in that house. And I saw till this sheep which had met that sheep which led them fell asleep. And I saw till all that great sheep perished, and little ones arose in their place. And they came to a pasture, and approached a stream of water. Then that sheep, their leader, which had become a man, withdrew from them and fell asleep. And all the sheep saw it and cried over it with a great crying. And I saw till they left off crying for that sheep, and crossed that stream of water. And there arose the two sheep as leaders, in the place of those which had led them and fallen asleep. And I saw till the sheep came to a goodly place, and a pleasant and glorious land. And that house stood amongst them in the pleasant land. And sometimes their eyes were opened, till another sheep arose and led them and brought them all back, and their eyes were opened. And the dogs and the foxes and the wild boars began to devour those sheep, till YaHuAH of the sheep raised up another sheep, a ram from their midst, which led them. And that ram began to butt on either side of those dogs, foxes, and wild boars, till he had destroyed them all. And that sheep whose eyes were open saw that ram, which was amongst the sheep, till it forsook its glory, and began to butt those sheep, and trampled upon them, and behaved itself unseemly. And YaHuAH of the sheep sent the lamb to another lamb, and raised it to being a ram and leader of the sheep, instead of that ram which had forsaken its glory. And it went to it and spake to it alone, and raised it to being a ram, and made it the prince and leader of the sheep. But during all these things, those dogs oppressed the sheep. And the first ram pursued the second ram, and that second ram arose and fled before it. And I saw till those dogs pulled down the first ram, and that second ram arose and led the little sheep. And those sheep grew and multiplied. But all the dogs and foxes and wild boars feared and fled before it. And that ram butted and killed the wild beasts. And those wild beasts had no longer any power among the sheep, and robbed them no more of aught. And that ram begat many sheep. and fell asleep. And a little sheep became ram in its stead, and became prince and leader of those sheep. And in that house became great and broad, and it was built for those sheep. And a tower lofty and great was built on the house for YaHuAH of the sheep. And that house was low, but the tower was elevated and lofty. And YaHuAH of the sheep stood on that tower, and they offered a full table before him. Yada YaHuAH, Yada YaHuAH, Yada YaHuAH. I'm going to end at that point because we have finished that vision. And next week we're going to start chapter 89. And the next chapter 89 is going to talk about the two kingdoms of Yashar-al and Yehuda to the destruction of Yerushalayim. So all praise to YaHuAH. This, I noticed that this vision is so amazing and so interesting because it uses the symbolism of all of the animals, but it walks us right through. It walks us right through. First of all, it talks about the deluge, which is the flood and what happened with the flood. And it continues on, like it's amazing with all of the animals and how YaHuAH keeps raising sheep. And it talks about the sheep that delivered, it talks about the exodus of how Masha was delivering the Yasharal out of Egypt and everything that happened, but it's all using different animals to explain the whole story. So we must remember that this was written by Enoch. So that is before, this is the 7th generation from Adam. So this was a prophetic dream that we know later on happened in the book of Exodus in Shamuoth. But when it came to him in the vision, this was like coming as a parable, symbolic of all the different animals and how YaHuAH was delivering Yasharal from all of the wolves. And it's just so amazing to think that in this first book of Hannock, all of this is so prophetic. It's so amazingly prophetic and very precise of exactly what happened with, and it talks about, and it talks about the angel that fell and the other stars that fell. And it talks about how the Nephilim, how the Watchers mixed with the human women and begot giants. But it's all done in a parable. It's just so amazing. So we're going to leave off there. Brother YaHuAH, what do you think about everything I just read? Yada YaHuAH. This is amazing.
One thing I think about everything is that the first thing I love about it is that gave me a lot of confidence about the last topic we talked about. If you remember very well, the promise delayed, not denied. All promise, anything that YaHuAH is going to do, no matter how difficult it is, it's going to do it.
Exactly.
Let me tell you something. No matter how difficult it is, it's going to do it. Look about the dream, the vision that YaHuAH showed Enoch about what is going to happen. And Enoch record everything down that this is what is going to happen. When we are telling people that the plan of YaHuAH, the plan of the Most High YaHuAH is different telling us. That is it. YaHuAH has his own plan. YaHuAH has planned his thing. What is going to happen in a year to come? YaHuAH has known everything and has his plan for everything. YaHuAH knows that this is going to happen even without that thing happening, and after that it still come true. That is why we have to know that the word of YaHuAH will never and ever go in vain. It will surely stand. The word of YaHuAH will surely stand on the rock of the Most High. His word is like a rock that can never be shifted. No. It's going to stand there, sit there, to what? To everything come to pass. You know, I really, the book of Enoch, this book of Enoch talks about a lot of powerful things that everybody has to know. You know, the last time I talked about, I think I stopped at chapter 72. That time, I think chapter 72, yes, about the vision of the sun, moon, and the star, how everything works perfectly. With the power of the Most High, YaHuAH shows him that this is what I do. This is how everything operates in my power. I am the owner. I am the one that controls it. Each of it for its time and season and everything. It shows him everything, that I am who I am. What I will be, I will be. What I will do, I will do. Yes, and if all the angels in heaven and all the stars, the moon, the sun can obey YaHuAH, can obey his commandment, obey his law, his direction, do this, why me and you are not going to do it? Do his will. Everybody there, they all follow the will of YaHuAH, not our own will. Not our own will. They all follow the will of YaHuAH, not our own will. Yes, that is it. They follow the will of YaHuAH. That is why that is what we talk about the chapter 72. Yes. Everything in this world belongs to him. YaHuAH has his plan. YaHuAH has everything that he has planned for everything. But what about me and you? Me and you. Yes, if the sun listens to YaHuAH, the moon listens to YaHuAH, they obey the word of YaHuAH, they follow his commandment, they follow his will, they wait for his will, they stand with his will, with everything planned by YaHuAH. So who are you? Who am I to disobey? To say no, I'm not following the will of YaHuAH. I want to do my own. I want to do my own. Yeah, and even the book of Enoch, that chapter 83 to 84, that dream of the flood and everything that is going to happen, that is to know that YaHuAH is powerful. If he's going to do something, he's going to do it. Yes, because Enoch dreamed about the flood that is going to destroy the world because of sin.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and he prayed for mercy he prayed for mercy for Noah and his children, and YaHuAH listened to him.
Yes, did you remember? You know what really, I was so surprised when Enoch told his son Methuselah to make a petition to YaHuAH that a remnant may remain on the earth, and YaHuAH answered his petition. So he wrote down his prayer for the generation of the world. Isn't that amazing? And I was just thinking how every week we as an assembly, we petition YaHuAH.
That is it! Know? That is it! I'm telling you! Yes, even in judgment, even when YaHuAH is angry, he listens to the righteous ones. When we are telling you that to serve YaHuAH is very easy. Even in judgment, YaHuAH remembers the righteous ones. YaHuAH listens to his petition for Noah. YaHuAH listens to petition. When we are telling people that YaHuAH listened, YaHuAH can listened. And YaHuAH listened to petition of Enoch for Noah. And YaHuAH showed mercy, even in judgment. YaHuAH remember that this is a righteous person. I have to leave him. YaHuAH listened. YaHuAH listened to what? To Enoch. When we are telling you that YaHuAH can listen to you, YaHuAH can listen to me, you don't need to go to that your pastor and pay him. Oh, help me to talk to YaHuAH. It's a lie. Nobody can talk to YaHuAH for you. You have to talk to him. YaHuAH give us some things that is called freedom. Freedom of speech. Freedom to ask. No, nothing like, what is that very easy now? YaHuAH died for us as he has stand as the high priest. You don't need to stress yourself. Just pray, submit your petition, write your petition to him directly, and with instant answering. What YaHuAH is not going to do, is not going to do it. But what he's going to do, is going to do it. Is a father that is merciful to his children. YaHuAH is merciful, yes. YaHuAH is what? YaHuAH is merciful. He prayed for mercy for Noah and his children, and YaHuAH listened. Yes. He wrote messages to him, and YaHuAH listened to him. And spare what? Spare Noah and his family. Yes, that is why in the book of Shimon, that in the book of Genesis chapter 8 verse 1, he said what? Remember Noah. Go and get it. Genesis chapter 8 verse 1 said what? And Elohim remember Noah. You know that statement? I used to wonder that how come this statement comes out. I just understand now. I just understand something right now, and that they keep telling me. I just understand that statement. And Elohim remember what? Noah. Remember his promise. Remember the petition of what? Of Enoch.
Let me look that up. Genesis chapter 8.
Chapter 8. Yes, verse 1. Genesis chapter 8 verse 1.
Okay, it says here, Bereshith 8 verse 1. And Elohim remembered Noah and all the beasts and all the cattle that were with him in the ark. And Elohim made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters subsided.
YaHuAH.
Wow, that's amazing.
YaHuAH. Yes. YaHuAH listened. He fulfilled his promise. Let me tell you something. Once YaHuAH is going to do something, he's going to make sure that he do everything to a point of what? Satisfaction. Where there is not going to be anything like correction. YaHuAH will never do something for you and you start correcting it. No. That you will start correcting now. YaHuAH will never do that. YaHuAH will do everything perfectly. YaHuAH remember the petition of Enoch. That you have to spare him. Because of my petition, spare him, and YaHuAH do that. YaHuAH listen carefully. Yes. It's you and I that we have to what? We have to stay on the way of YaHuAH. Obey him. He will protect you, protect us, even in time of judgment. Let me tell you something. I read the scriptures and I understand something. Is that even if YaHuAH comes today, only the people that stand with him, if everything keep happening, if this thing keep destroying, if the destruction come, nobody that stand with him with true heart will fall. Anybody that stand and obey him and serve him, even if the destructions come, we will survive it. Only people that doesn't obey or listen to him will be cleared out. But we are going to survive it. That is it. That is the promise of the Most High YaHuAH. And that is the promise he promised for us as well. Yes, that is the promise he promised for book of Enoch, chapter 85, the vision of the animal, I don't see a vision where people looks like animal. Everything is just like a parable.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, explain it to him. Yes, Israel what? Become sheep. YaHuAH count the children of YaHuAH as sheep. Sheep. And what? Messiah, that is YaHuAH, come as one shining white bull, lamb to save them. To save everybody. To save us.
Remember how it says in the scriptures, my sheep hear my voice. And that is like, it's all taken from the book of Hannock.
Yes.
Because we see that this is from the parable. This is all connects to this parable of the sheep of YaHuAH.
Yes. You know what? So something. Help me. Yeah. Help me to go to the book of John. YaHuAH. Chapter 1 verse 29. YaHuAH. Chapter 1 verse 29.
Chapter 1 verse 29. Okay. So YaHuAH, chapter 1 verse 29, it says, on the next day, YaHuAH saw YaHushua coming toward him and said, see the Lamb of Elohim who takes away the sin of the world. YaHuAH.
YaHuAH is what? YaHuAH is power. The Lamb of what? Elohim takes away the sin. The Lamb of what? Elohim takes away what? The sin. Takes away the sin. That is why we always say in the book of 23, oh, YaHuAH is my shepherd. I shall not want. YaHuAH is my shepherd. Yes. For only people for only sheep that listen, that have the ear to listen. Anybody that can listen, please listen carefully. Listen carefully and obey the word, the voice of the shepherd. And obey the voice of the shepherd. I hope all our listeners, I hope you don't miss this. And if you miss it, just go to our YouTube channel and listen to it again. Yes, share it with people. Share it with people. Yes, share it. Let everyone know. Go back to the YouTube and listen to it again. YaHuAH always had a plan. I'm telling you. YaHuAH always have a plan to save his flock through YaHuAH. When we are telling you that YaHuAH is the Savior, do you think that we are joking? That book of Enoch talks about the word. Talks about the lamb. The lamb. Who is the lamb that is referring to? That is YaHuAH. He has been existing. That is what YaHuAH. And it comes in flesh again, and what again? And still take away our sin. Are you going to take everything for granted?
Yes, in the book of Enoch, chapter 84 that we read, it also talks after the petition and after the dreams, the visions. It says, and now my YaHuAH, destroy from the earth the flesh which has aroused thy wrath. But the flesh of righteousness and uprightness establish as a plant of the eternal seed, and hide not thy face from the prayer of thy servant, O YaHuAH. So that plant of eternal seed is YaHuAH. So YaHuAH even knows when we are going to petition him. That's the beauty of all of this, is that when Enoch tells Methuselah to petition YaHuAH, even that is in YaHuAH's plan. Because YaHuAH knows that he is going for us to petition him so that he could give us what he already planned.
That is
so
it.
All praise to YaHuAH.
You know, I just want to add one statement, one big statement that I want everybody to hold. Is that what? No matter what is going on, no matter what is happening to you, the plan of YaHuAH will always stand. YaHuAH has his own plan, and that plan will always be. No matter what you are thinking in mind, no matter what you are doing, the plan of the Most High YaHuAH will always what? Come true. Only for you and I to stand with him. Stay by his side. Stay by him. Wait for him. Yes, because YaHuAH plans for the children of Yashara and salvation was shown long before. Can't you see? YaHuAH have shown it long before anything even happened. YaHuAH plan and his salvation, how he's going to do everything. YaHuAH has his plan for a very long time and show it. That is what I'm telling you. The plan of the Most High YaHuAH, he has plan for me, for you. What we are just going through is that what? YaHuAH doesn't show us his plan. YaHuAH doesn't tell us his plan, his next move. That is what we are going through. But let me tell you something. Only the few people that wait for him will enjoy him. Only the few people that wait for him will enjoy him. Sister, I'm using this to say shalom to everybody, and I'm using this to say thanks to you today. Oh, because I really enjoyed this program. I'm telling you, with this with this summarization, this little summarization about today's program, I really love it. I really love it. Yes, I really love it. And I pray may YaHuAH baruch you and strengthen you. Yes, and strengthen you. And baruch all our listeners as well. All our listeners as well. And thanks for everybody. We are saying thanks to YaHuAH, and we are saying thanks to you as well, sister. And thanks for coming to the Righteousness Radio. And we hope you keep coming to the Righteousness Radio so that we can keep moving, sharing the truth. Yes, we have to keep sharing the truth to everybody. Till what? Till the truth rampart. Till everybody find out about the truth, until the lies that they have taught us is being eradicated. We have to keep going, and we have to keep going. Thank you. See you next Saturday, next Shabbat day. See you. Thanks for everybody. Our sister is always here on the Righteousness Radio on every Shabbat for Shabbat program. Join here every Shabbat for the reading and the summarization. It's a very, very interesting topic, and it's a very, very interesting program. Thanks to everybody. Shalom. See you next Shabbat. Shalom. Family, this is a very, 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 very interesting topic. This is a very, very interesting topic for everybody.
Blind, yet they're the ones who can't find time to see the truth. It's divine, it's design. We rise, we fall, we climb again. With every storm we'll make amends. Stand strong, stand true.
Oh, family, we are saying thanks to everybody that has the privilege to listen to us today on the Righteousness Radio. We are saying thanks to everybody that listening to us today on the Righteousness Radio. Oh, I'm bringing a very urgent message for everybody. Urgent announcement. Our brother, our guest, our second guest for today, our brother YaHuAH Fidelity, is very strong. Yes, and is going to, and YaHuAH has take control of everything, but is trying to take a rest for a while. So by the grace of the Master YaHuAH, he's going to be here by next week Shabbat for you and me. Yes, and we know that is what the Ashitan is trying to stop everything, but no, we keep going. We keep going. And I hope you enjoy today's program. I hope you enjoy today's program. I want you to know something about today's program. Is that, let me tell you something, is that everything that you are going through, that you think you are going through it alone. Everything that you think you are alone. No one can see me. There's no one there is no one for me. There is no one for me. Everything that you think is you alone. Who is going to help me? I want you to know that there's someone that can help you. No, it's not someone that can help you, but there is someone helping you. But that person is just like someone you can't see. You think that is not working, but actually is working. Actually is working. But actually is what? Is working. I'm telling you. Yes. Actually is working. All what you have to do is that just stay by him, because he has planned for you, for your generation to come. He has planned for everybody. He's the only one that knows what is going to happen, what is not going to happen. If someone tells me that I'm going to be here today, I'll say no. In 3 years back, I'm going to say no. I won't be in this place. But he has his own plan, I have mine. But can you see? The plan of the Master YaHuAH will always come true. That is why I'm telling you. You have to always wait for the plan of the Most High, not your plan. Always ask him to fulfill what? His own plan, not your own plan. Not your own plan. I'm using this to say shalom to everybody that has the privilege to listen to me today on the Righteousness Radio. And I'm going for today. We are going for today. And we are going to see you here tomorrow. We are going to see you here tomorrow with our guest. With our new guest on the Righteousness Radio.
YaHuAH, a fire in my veins. YaHuAH. Crumble down, but the name remains. Through the rivers wild, through the desert plains. YaHuAH, YaHuShah, like thunder in the rain. YaHuAH, YaHuShah power, YaHuShah power forever, now and forever, till death do us part, till the end of time, we're bound by the heart.
are going for today. Yes, we are going for today. And we are going to see you tomorrow. By the grace of the Most High YaHuAH. By the grace of what? Of the we are going to
This ain't a place for toughen your grip, cowboy. Cowboy. Give it all you've got. Don't ever give up. Cards on the table, the hand ain't great, but you play it strong, 'cause it ain't just fate.